Right, it's finished. Arsenal 2, Spurs 2. That's massive points drop for Arsenal in the Premier League title race. Let's be completely real. The Romero own goal, the Romero penalty. Arsenal should have been flying away from the game and they should have been getting 3 points. And when City, you look at Man City getting maximum points, there's no question in my mind that Arsenal should be getting maximum points from winning positions at home in big games. And they haven't done that. They didn't do it against Fulham. They've not done it against Spurs. In the context of a North London derby, actually a point isn't the worst result. But in the context of what it takes to win against this City side, to win the Premier League in the modern era, a point is actually really frustrating if you're an Arsenal fan. Let me know if you are an actual Arsenal fan, what you think in the comments down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Let's be completely real. Arsenal were dictating the play when that own goal goes in from Romero. I think it was going well wide from Saka. I think Arsenal were getting better on the ball. I don't think that Spurs were out of it. I think they just had a kind of 55-60% advantage. I don't think they can ever look and say, oh, we should have won the game 3 or 4-0. But in the little marginal moments where you're 1-0 up against Spurs, then Spurs go back and equalise. It was beautiful play from Maddison, turning away from Saka, who wasn't able to get goal side. And then bang, a beautiful finish from Son, who was absolutely incredible today. He could have had a hat-trick. It was like Son of yesteryear. I mean, it was peak Heung-min Son. A great finish off. And when it hits the post as well, it's just absolutely delicious. And then Romero, I mean, like, what's he doing for the handball situation? Maybe it's a little bit unlucky in terms of where his position is for his hand, but it is obviously a clear goal-scoring opportunity stopped by Romero. And Saka with a beautiful little penalty down the middle. He showed a level of poise, a level of kind of character that maybe he's not shown, especially against West Ham in big penalty moments in his career. And he's the main man at Arsenal. He is going to be the one taking on big Champions League penalties, big FA Cup penalties for Arsenal in the next few years. And it started well. It started well against Spurs. If he's going to go back onto a kind of winning spell of penalties, it's not a better opportunity than to do it against Spurs. But then Spurs get back in it within what, 60 seconds? I mean, what is Jorginho doing? Maddison nicks it off of him, and then bang, Son's finish. I mean, it was absolutely delicious the way he kind of just passed it into the bottom corner with like a level of precision. It was absolutely incredible. So those are the 4 goals. I think Arsenal will be a little bit disappointed to not be getting 3 points on the board. I think they've got a lack of squad depth as well. I think you saw Kai Havertz come on, you saw Jorginho come on. 2 players that didn't make enough of a difference today. I don't know what Kai Havertz was doing for a large part of the game. Really frustrating. He kind of floated around a little bit, came deep for balls, and he didn't always have the right pass on him. He didn't really speed up play. And in the big moments where you're asking him to affect the game for a £60 million player that already got spent, 72 million on by Chelsea, where is the difference making moments from Kai Havertz? He has a beautiful opportunity on his left foot, and he blazes it over from 20 yards out. It's a volley. It's difficult. It's tricky. There's no question about it. But he struggled. He really, really struggled. I don't think he made a difference. And then Jorginho, I mean, he's coming on to calm the game down. He's there when obviously Partey's injured. He's there when Rice is injured. He's meant to bring a level of experience, a level of calm to that midfield for Arsenal. I don't think he did on any big level. I would find that very, very frustrating if I was an Arsenal fan, that Jorginho, probably the most experienced player, a European Cup winner, Champions League winner, didn't show that kind of that calmness, that poise. And I find that very, very frustrating. Let's just talk about some of the kind of the key players throughout the Arsenal and the Spurs setup. A very quick comment on Spurs. I thought they were fantastic at moments. Sarr was able to break through midfield. Basuma. I really like Kulusevski today. They've got a really good side with character, Spurs. I think they remind me of what Martin Jol used to do with Spurs. With Aaron Lennon bombing down the wing, Robbie Keane down the middle, Jermaine Defoe. It feels like classic Spurs. And Ange Postecoglou has definitely created character, belief. I feel like last year, if they'd gone 1-0 down, 2-0 down, they would have just lost the game, and it would have been flat. It would have been a bit drab, and it certainly hasn't been that in the last few weeks. And a point away at the Emirates, especially if in the return leg, where I think they're going to have, maybe certain players come back to full fitness, for example, I think they could definitely get an opportunity to even beat Arsenal the way that Spurs play, and that wouldn't be too bad in their season. Definitely a side that can approach the Champions League positions. And then from Arsenal's position, obviously, the big call in goal for Arsenal was David Raya. He 1,000,000% looks like the right keeper for me. He pulls off an unbelievable save from, might have been Son, but either way, he's kind of running across the whole of his goal mouth, and he just makes an unbelievable save, diving effort. Vicario at the other end actually made a beautiful save in the first half. It was kind of a Gordon Banks kind of reflex save. It was absolutely beautiful, and Vicario is a very, very good keeper. But David Raya, he showed real quality today. I really like David Raya. I think Declan Rice had a great game. And I think the front three, obviously, it was Jesus, Eddie Nketiah and Saka. Without Martinelli's kind of quality that he offers on the left-hand side of the front three, I do think Arsenal miss presence up front. I think they miss a little bit of power. I think Eddie Nketiah had a couple of chances. He's just thinking, just not that silky smooth striker that's going to get you 25 goals a season. I think he's a functional striker. I think he gets you through a spot. I think he works hard for the team. I love the challenge that he put on Vicario. But apart from that, I still think Arsenal are lacking the fear factor going forward. I think people are double banking Saka a lot. I think they're man marking him out of the game, and he's not always going to be able to create 10 premium chances a game against these big sides. If it's not him, I think Arsenal are lacking a little bit. They're a little bit light, in my opinion. And then that midfield option, I would actually say, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be a little bit disappointed with Odegaard. I just didn't see enough from Odegaard in the game. Didn't pick up the ball and kind of drive with it enough. I think maybe that's down to Spurs' midfield being compact, being physical. I think Sarr was fantastic again, and Basuma. Even Maddison could drop in there, and he was nicking balls and obviously created a goal himself and kind of winning the ball high up the pitch. So it wasn't easy for Odegaard, but these are the games where De Bruyne would step up. These are the games where, the Vieiras of the world, Lampards of the world would step up. And I think there's a small criticism that Odegaard in these big games, has he stepped up to maximal kind of capacity? I think that's a debate. Where does it leave Arsenal? Of course, they've done so well in the Champions League. They blew away PSV, which could have been a very nervous night for Arteta in his first Champions League game as a manager. And they look really good. And now they've gone 1-0 up, 2-0 up against Spurs, done everything right to get in those positions. Put so much pressure on Spurs in the first half of that game. And then to kind of see them throw it away a little bit would be mad frustrating. Again, it's not really, I think the Premier League's turned away from the results, away from the passion, away from the emotion of things. It's just turned into how many 3-point wins can you get a season? I know it's a bit of a redundant thing to say, but I do think that Arsenal will be proud of the way they performed, but the result is just not nearly enough anymore. A draw at home. There's 2 draws at home now, and they look like they're a million miles off City, who've got a perfect record. That's the criticism. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We'll be covering all the games coming up in the next few weeks, and I'll see you very, very soon.